Hello students, welcome back to your history class. We had done 11 questions in the first class. Today we shall do some more. So the first question we're going to do is, who is Justinian? And mention two of his achievements. The answer to this question will be that Justinian was a great emperor of the Eastern Roman Empire who ruled from 527 AD to 565 AD. He was the greatest of the Oriental emperors who ruled at Constantinople. He adorned his capital with lots of churches, theaters, baths, and museums. He built several forts to protect his empire from the barbaric invaders. His fame rests mainly on the fact that he was a great jurist who prepared a code for the Roman laws, which is called the Corpus Juris Civilis, a book that has made his name immortal. So this is all that you will speak about Justinian. Next, recount two important causes and two results of the Punic Wars that were fought between Rome and the Carthage. Two causes and two results. The desire for the new lands after the conquest of Italy led the Romans to a series of new wars with the Carthage, which is a city on the northeast coast of Africa. These Punic Wars continued intermittently for almost a century, from 264 BC to 146 BC. The two causes of this war were that both the states wanted to establish their supremacy by defeating each other. Second cause is each of them wanted to acquire control over the Mediterranean Sea, and so the war was inevitable. Results of this war: the Roman victory in the Punic War made Rome the supreme power in the West. The victory over Carthage welted their appetite for more lands, and so the Romans launched wars of conquest in every direction, and they soon laid a foundation of a vast empire. Why is the age of Augustus regarded as a golden period of the Romans? Augustus was a nephew of the illustrious Julius Caesar. He held the reins of the administration from 27 BC to 14 AD. During this period, Rome achieved so much that the period is regarded as the golden period of the Romans because of the various reasons, which are efficient administration, economic prosperity, happy and prosperous life, advancement in literature, advancement in architecture, consolidation of the empire instead of the expansion, and birth of Jesus Christ. All these mark the period as a golden period. Write in 50 words about the Roman roads. The Romans built solid roads and bridges to connect the various parts of the empire. The Romans carried the art of the road building to the greatest perfection. Roman roads were the finest the world ever knew. Until recent times, many modern roads in North Africa and many parts of Europe had built on the actual bases laid by the Roman builders. There were 372 main routes in Italy and 12,000 miles of well paved roads. The bases of the roads were laid with the help of the stones. On the base were spread various layers of concrete, one about the other. They were paved with a mixture of cement, sand, concrete, and lime to make them strong and durable. No one can excel the Romans in the art of road building. So their roads were very, very strong. Write in 50 words about the economic life of the Romans. Agriculture was the main occupation. They grew barley, millet, and wheat. They kept orchards and they grew grapes, figs, and olives. They also practiced crop rotation and they used fertilizers. Cultivation was done with the help of slaves and landless laborers. Trade and commerce flourished as the empire extended. Rome had trade relations with Egypt, Syria, Persia, Arabia, and India. They exported pottery, wine, olive oil, metals, and they imported manufactured goods, grains, dyes, precious stones, glassware, cotton, and spices. The trade encouraged various industries and crafts. What is the difference between the Roman and the Greek democracy? There's a big difference between the democracy of the Romans and that of the Greece. In Greece, there was direct or pure democracy in which all the citizens took part in the making of laws and in the affairs of the government. On the other hand, there was a representative form of democracy in Rome. The laws were made by the representative of the people. They carried on the administration. The people did not participate directly in the affairs of the government. This form of democracy is suited to countries with large population. Modern states have adopted this form of democracy. So have we. Describe the administrative setup in ancient Greece and Rome. How did it differ from the administration of the ancient Chinese or the Iranian? There was a brief spell of kingship both in Greece and Rome, but it was soon replaced by the democracy. All the citizens that were a member of the assembly could directly take part in the administration of the city states. The assembly elected the members of the council who held the office as long as they enjoyed the confidence of the assembly. But in Iran and China, the people were ruled by kings and emperors who were not responsible to any assembly, council, or senate. The king was autocratic and his will was law. He was the administrator, the legislator, and the arbiter of law. He himself was considered above law. Next question 19. discuss the social conditions in ancient Greece and Rome, or describe briefly the social organization of ancient Greece. Both of it will have the same answer. The Greek society was divided into three groups: nobles or the upper class, demos or the free people, and the slaves. Similarly, Roman society was also divided into three: patriarch or the rich people, plebeians or the common people, and the slaves. In the upper class, it included the riches and the landed aristocracy, which led a very luxurious life. The second class was comprised by the traders, craftsmen, warriors, and the cultivators. These people enjoyed all the civic rights, but they were against the upper class because they had to bear the burden of most of the taxes. The slaves, they formed the third class, and they led a very wretched and sad life. Question 20. Describe the conditions of the slaves in ancient Roman Greece. How did it affect the social structure of these societies? Or describe the position of slaves in the ancient Greece and Rome. In what kind of work were they generally engaged? What was the impact of slavery on this nature of society? A large number of people in ancient Greece and Rome were slaves. The prisoners of war and also those who could not pay off their debts, they were kept as slaves. Their condition was not so good. They had to work day in and day out, but they were deprived of all the social and political rights. All sort of work was taken from slaves. They were employed in agriculture, mining, roads, building, workshops, on ships. Sometimes they were also put across wild animals just for mere fun. The slave system produced an evil effect on both Roman and the Greek societies. As all the work was done by the slaves, the Greeks and the Romans grew luxurious, and so they were finally reduced to nothing. Continuous exploitation led the slaves to revolt, and the state had to strengthen its force constantly to suppress the slaves. So, not only was money wasted, but a lot of bitterness was also created amongst different people. Next question, 21. Compare the achievements of the Roman people with those of the Greeks in any 5 spheres. So number 1 is the Greeks were by nature idealists, whereas the Romans were realism. The Greeks could not raise small city-states, while the Romans chalked out big empires. The Greeks attached greater importance to democratic ideals, but the Romans did not. The Greeks excelled in the fields of art and literature, and Romans were known for their law and jurisprudence. The Greeks emphasized the freedom of thought, while Romans considered discipline and obedience as indispensable. They could never have succeeded in building such a big empire. Give the name of people, give the name of the people or civilization responsible for the cultural advances in the following works of literature and art and describe them briefly. The first one, Aeneid. The name of the person is Virgil. So all of them are from the Roman civilization. Second is Orations, and the person's name is Cicero. Meditation and Pantheon both are by Marcus Aurelius. Next, explain the meaning of the following terms. Phonetic script is that script where the characters tend for a certain sound and not a particular object. Democracy, it is a form of government where the highest authority is exercised by the people. Oligarchy is a form of government where the highest authority is exercised by few nobles of the aristocratic society. Republic, it's a form of government where the government of the people is headed by a president elected by the people of their representatives. Partitions is used for the Roman aristocratic class. Plebeians, they denote the Roman lower class people who included farmers, artisans, small traders, and soldiers. Par Roman means the period of peace and prosperity in Rome under the Emperor Augustus. With this, we end the very short answer questions. Now, from tomorrow, we are going to be doing short answer type questions, which is 100 words answer, 4 marks. Till then, stay home, stay safe, study well, and keep learning. Thank you.